Oh, welcome back to the workshop. I've got a little project going on here. We've got a house with the some new carpet put down, and we've got a tile floor that's here existing, and we've got this little transition bar sitting on here. And when the stuff was moved, it chipped a big bit of this out of there, so we want to cover that up. Problem is, when I put this transition strip on here, the old original one, in order to get that to cover up, can't nail it down, and when I do, it leaves a gap and it settles down into this pretty thick, almost a shaggy carpet, so it's not working well. So what we're going to do is we're going to make us an oak strip to go across here instead. So I'm going to try to take you through the steps I'm going to go through to get it to build something like this. The first thing I'm going to do is I've got to take some measurements and see what I can come up with. And I know that I want to come back probably right back to the jamb here, or close to it. So about 1.5 inches. That would cover all this quite easily. So I think I want to do that. And then it's going to be stepped down a pretty good bit. So we're going to take this and just kind of set it there. And if that was flat, we're going to figure that we've got probably not really quite 1/2 inch. It's really about probably 3/8 of an inch, I believe. That's what I measured this. I'd already measured it. So I think we're about 3/8 of an inch. We're going to settle down into the carpet to actually get it set solid. So I think what we'll do is go another, say, 1.5 inches to get it out past all the carpet edges here. Is kind of loose. We want to get it back onto something solid. So we're going to do 1.5 inches. I think there would work fine, something in that general area. So that would give us a total of about 3 inches as a transition. I think that'll look all right. So what I've done now is I've drawn this up. We're thinking 1.5 inches to the first curve, about 3/8 of an inch up, another 1.5 inches this way. Probably 1/2 inch to get that up off of the carpet, get it up above the carpet a little bit. And then probably a little 3/4 of an inch probably for this dimension. Give us just enough height to give us enough wood to make sure it doesn't bust. And then come back off, and we'll probably stay about 1/4 inch thick here, so it won't be a tripping hazard. 1/4 inch I think I can get away with. So that's the plan. We did measure from jamb to jamb, and it's a 36-inch door here. So we're going to go ahead and make that 36 inches, and then we'll be able to get rid of this, and we'll place the other one in. And that's the project for the day. It'll look probably something similar. We had another one over here that we just simply butted up to it because the floor had a good edge to it. So we'll probably try to stay about what this one looks like. It was a little easier, just a nice little angle piece on that one. So that's what we're going to go with. So we'll head to the shop, see if we can find us a piece of oak, and we'll see if we can build us a little strip there. Okay, I found myself a piece of oak. It looks like we've got a piece, and it's 3 inches wide, about what we wanted. Found in the old scrap bin of mine. And it is approximately 3/4 of an inch, a little bit more than 3/4, but I think we'll be all right with that. We'll sand it down if we have to at the end, whatever we need to do. So what I've done, as you can see, if you look at my picture, I've got about 3/4 of an inch across the top here, and we've just marked out everything as we want it. So we've got our ready to go, the pattern's set up. So what we need to do now is to determine this angle. There's several ways you can do it. Pretty much, this is not a real critical angle, but I do want to cut these first, and I'm going to do that on my table saw. And I think I'm just going to eyeball it on the blade, and we'll show you what that looks like when we set her up. So we'll go ahead and, pretty simple, we'll go ahead and crank the old blade up on the saw. And we're going to put a little bit of an angle on it. We're going to kind of shoot for about what I think we're going to end up with. We'll just move the old thing over here, and we'll go ahead and grab my piece of wood. Let's see. And we'll bring it to the table saw. And we're going to see if we can mash this up and pretty much just lay it up against that. and start that there. And that looks like it's pretty darn close. I think we're probably going to be close enough. Might have to go just a touch more. Let's see where that's going to touch at right there. So really our top of our cut's going to be right in that area there. And that's about where we want it to be. I think we're going to be pretty darn close. So I think what we'll do is we'll lock that one down and we'll do a little test cut and see how close we are to my line. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up. Change the angle a little bit was too much, so let's straighten her up a little bit. And we'll go again. A little bit more. And that's pretty darn close. We're going to go just a little bit more, I think. I think that's going to be close enough for what we need, so we'll go ahead and just run this on through. Okay, once that's done, we got to do the same thing to the other side. Lock it, and go again. Okay, that's got us pretty darn close to our lines on those two. Now we need to cut this piece here. So we're going to swap that back around and set our blade back straight. And we're going to go ahead and set the height of this to be the same as that line there. We're going to move this out of the way a little bit. Let's see if we can show you that way. And I don't know if you can see, we're going to go ahead and just simply drop our blade down so that the top of that's going to be equal to that. We'll put our tooth right on it. And it looks like we can come down just a fraction more, something about like that. And then we know we want to be about 3/8 of an inch taken off of that. So we'll just go ahead and just set our saw over here at about 3/8 of an inch. We'll lock that down and we should be pretty good to go. Well, we got to make sure we're 3/8 of an inch to the far side of the blade. Don't mess up and do the other. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. So we'll just make sure it's on the outside edge of that line. Right about there, it looks pretty darn good. So we'll lock that down. We've got our height set. We've got the other set. So we'll go ahead and cut that pattern out. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, the result on that one is right on our pencil line. And the last cut we'll need to make, of course, is going to be just to cut up into it that deep. So we'll set our distance and all here. Move this over to where we want it. Lock that down. And then we need to set our height so that we don't go any deeper than that. So let's set this here. And we'll bring our saw blade back down to that level. Make sure we find the high tooth. So we want to make sure we're right there at it. And it looks pretty good right there. So we'll confirm that. And confirm we're still on the same side. Which I believe, well, let's do it this way because I've got my pencil mark on there. We need to come back over, so let's go this way. I think that's pretty close right there. So we'll go ahead now and cut that. Now when you do cut this, be a little careful. This piece will shoot out the back side because we're cutting it loose. So don't stand behind it. It can sling it. Okay, so what we've got is our transition strip, and that should look pretty darn close to what we had here. We'll match that up with our dimensions, and everything looks pretty good that way. So the last thing we need to do is go ahead and cut that 36 inches long, because we hadn't done that yet. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll be 36 inches off of here. That'll be fine. We'll give that a quick cut. Okay, so we've got that, and now what we're going to do is go on into place and see if it's actually going to fit what we tried to get it to fit. So, and then we'll come back out and do some sanding, a little bit of finish on it, and we'll be good to go. So let's go check that out. Okay, we've got it in here. It's setting in place. When we stand on it, we're going to have to, we'll attach this down, but it feels good and solid. It's sitting hard against the carpet, hard against that, so it's a much better fit than the other bar. It's not really tall, so it won't be bad to walk over. So our next step is, I think that's going to work just perfectly fine. We'll take it out, sand it down, and then be able to put a finish on it, and then come back in, and we can either probably just nail it down with a couple of finish nails to hold it in place, and we'll be good to go. Won't be too bad. Putty and stain over top of that. So we'll go head out and get her sanded down. Okay, we got that all sanded down, so we'll go ahead and put us a little stain on here. We're going to go with the same color that I have in the rest of the house, so it's golden oak. So we'll just do a quick little stain on it. Let's see if we can make this work. Make sure that's all covered good. And this edge. Of course, you don't need to worry about the bottom side. Nobody's going to see it. It's not out in the weather, so it doesn't need to be sealed or anything. But that's all it takes to do a little coat of stain. A little bit on my workbench. That won't hurt anything either. So it's stained. That looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and close the stain up. We'll let this thing dry for a little bit, and then we'll put us a little coat of polyurethane on it. Okay, this had plenty of time to dry, so we're going to go ahead and put a little coat of polyacrylic on it. And I think that's probably all we're going to need to do. And we'll have this looking pretty good. And I think this will last well enough. It's not going to take much. And that's got a coat of it on there. It's looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and let that one dry and put a second coat on it, and it'll be ready to go. I think 2 coats probably be enough. So we'll let that one dry. And I probably won't show you the second coat because it'll look exactly the same as the first. And we'll go ahead and get her installed. Okay, the finish is all on. It's all dried. We've got it set in place. And it's looking good. I'll go ahead and all I'm going to do for this one is just take my gun and set it on there and put a couple nails in there. Make sure she's sitting where I want it. And that's got it all secure. She's nice and solid. And that's all it takes to put one of those in there. And total time to build one is, what, maybe an hour? If it wasn't for drying time. So they're pretty quick, easy little project, and it sure is a whole lot easier to do this than go out and buy one. So that's how you set one up and put them in. They kind of custom make them to what fits your door, so, in your doorway. So anyways, that's the end of that project. I hope that is helpful. You can build your own. I appreciate you checking it out, and we'll go on to the next project. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. We do appreciate any feedback. And see you on the next one.